We're gonna do a bunch of tier lists today, chat, because I like to talk about. It's weird because it's like stuff that you would think is not important, but it's also the most important stuff to talk about because it's stuff we all have an awareness of. Like, for example, let's do a tier list. This is maybe the most hotly anticipated content of the year so far. I really want to do this one. I think there's a lot to talk about. Times of day tier list. Like we can do the months, we can do the seasons, we can do foods, we could do media properties, whatever. But this is one thing that everybody has an opinion on: the time of day. Now let's acknowledge the obvious here. Your schedule will probably determine how you feel about every single time of the day. So if you could spare me the hand wringing when I say that like 3 a.m. sucks, and you say something like, well, actually, I work nights and 3 a.m. is when I get off from work. Okay, that's fine, and I believe you, but try to keep your head screwed on straight here. We're talking about for normal schedules, even though my schedule is not 100% normal either, okay? So I thought long and hard about how to do this. And you're right. Let me move the camera. You're right, and I'm not just saying that. Sometimes I'm just saying it, but this time you're right on this one. I've thought long and hard about how to do this, and I think you know what, you're right. The fact that these are in different orders is crazy. But I don't know how to adjust that on the website. You could probably click and drag, but we could be here all day. I think the easiest thing is you start with the times of day that are the worst. And I think, for me personally, the objective worst times of day are 3 a.m., 4 a.m. And I'm kind of generalizing it, but we were talking about it a little bit in Chibley's chat, okay? On the earlier end, some people that are really early birds might say 2 a.m., but I feel like there's been times in my life where I've been awake past 2 a.m. Looking at your phone and seeing that it's 2 a.m., not the best time to see, but you're still almost like, I could salvage this. Like maybe I could sleep 2 to 8, wake up and like be good to go for something at 9 and not feel that bad. But once you start to see 3 or 4, like things get really nasty. And 4 is much worse, I think. 4 is like, should I even sleep tonight? If I have something to do tomorrow, like, is it even worth sleeping tonight, or should I just stay awake at this point and tank it? And then, I think if we're being realistic, and this one hurts me to do, I move 5 a.m. up one tier. And the reason is this is when I wake up. I think that 5 a.m. in the D tier is fine. There's some good things that can happen at 5 a.m. You could schedule yourself getting up at 5 a.m. and not feel too bad about it. But this is where I wanted to start the structure of the whole thing, the shape of it, the smell of it. Now, the other thing, there's some interesting lenses to look at this from. One is, how do you feel about times where you're probably asleep? Like, I'm asleep, maybe not here, but definitely 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. So is it good because you're sleeping, or is it bad because if you were awake, that would suck? I don't have an answer for that yet, so I'm going to move on to some different parts of the day, okay? I built out the bottom. We're going to build out the top here as well, okay? My personal ranking, and I said this to you yesterday, and this is what kicked off the whole argument. I think there's 3 goated times of the day for a guy like me. One is 10 a.m. They're equidistant. One is 1 p.m. and one is 4 p.m. Through a weekday lens, I like them, and on a weekend lens, I love them. Like, I think if I had to order them fully, I think 1 p.m. is my favorite time of the day. You're probably either eating lunch or thinking about lunch. You've done some stuff in the morning and the early afternoon, but you still got like lots of time left before bed. 10 a.m., I don't know. I think one of the themes of like my life, especially after having a kid, is realizing that I think genetically or like culturally, I'm programmed to be a morning person, and I just tricked myself into thinking I was like a late night sort of guy. Um, and 10 a.m. feels like one of the best parts of the morning for me. Late morning mogs the early morning for sure. But 10 a.m. is very nice. I like it. How's 10 better than 9? It's a little bit later. It's that simple. In the morning, a little bit later is nice. And in the evening, a little bit later can be a bit of a debuff. I also think 10 a.m., great time to get brunch on the weekend. 4 p.m., I don't know. I've always liked the vibes of 4 p.m. Even when I was working, even when I was in school, 4 p.m. is just a good vibe. Afternoon's a great time of day. It's unfortunate we spend so much of it inside, but 4 p.m. I think is like, I'm never upset when I look at the clock and I see that it's 4 p.m. It's that simple. Now, again, I can really only rank this according to my own life. The A tiers seem simple to me. As much as I love these 3 signposts, what are the other A tiers? Well, okay, 6 p.m. is an A tier, and I think 7 p.m., and this is on purpose, but also I believe it. These are 2 really good times. This is in the dinner window, home from work. Everybody's probably home from work, catching up on the day, relaxing, maybe tidying up a little bit to keep your living space looking nice. This is like the freest time of the day because you're like, I don't need to go to, I'm not in a rush yet to go to bed, and I have some time to like guilt-free decompress from whatever was stressing me out during the regular day. How is that not above 4? 4's got some magic to it, man. I don't know what to explain to you. 4 is just, I mean, when I look at my watch and it says 4 p.m., I go, that's awesome. I don't know what to tell you. Plus, keep in mind, that's right, I am on the Pacific time zone. So you have to, if you're on the Eastern time zone, you have to add 3 extra hours to all these. So this should be 4, and this would be 7, and then this would be 1. So you have to adjust this for whatever time zone you're in. If you're British, you're probably looking at this going like, what do you mean? What do you mean half one GMT? Are you daft? I'm taking a look at some other times that I want to cherry pick here. Let's start times that are also bad, but are not as bad as 3 and 4, which are obviously the worst. 2 is pretty bad. And I like the morning, but 6 is not that special either. I mean, 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. have a much different vibe than 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. I think we would agree maybe that it depends on how much of an early bird you are, but 7 a.m. is like the first possibly good to great morning hour. This is, and I go to bed a little earlier, but this is like you could go to bed at midnight, wake up at 7, and feel normal. You could feel pretty good about yourself, I'd say, at this point. 6 is a little bit more like you have to commit to an early bedtime to be refreshed here, but 7 is like, with some careful planning and some discipline, you could be here for sure. And rounding out the rest of the morning, I'll just be honest with you. Well, it's tough. 7 also actually kind of, you know what? I hate to do this. I'm moving 7 down 1. And I'm moving it down when I'm to give some space for 8. And I think this rounds it out nicely. The reason I'm not moving it down this time for 6, 7. This is here because of 6, 7. But I'm pulling the father card on this one. 7 a.m. is actually peak morning stress for me because I have to get my kid ready for school and then drop them off at school like within this kind of window right here. But like the drive to school and the drop off is not as bad as the mad rush to feed them breakfast, get them changed, pack the school bag, fill up the water bottle, while also trying to make sure that like you're ready to start your day as well. So I'm going to say 7 a.m. is actually, it's pretty low at this point. Now things get interesting. Noon's a pretty good time. I don't see a good argument to not put noon in the A tier. Meal times are going to drastically affect the weighting of times of day for sure. Now, most of the time, if I could choose, I would not be a noon lunch Andy, despite waking up early. I would be a 1 p.m. Andy if it weren't for the stream. 1 p.m. just feels like the right time to eat lunch to me, even though this is perhaps canonically considered like the platonic ideal lunchtime. But you know my thinking on this. When you wait a little longer to eat lunch in the workday, it means that you tank more of the workday at the start and you have less of the workday at the end. So basically, you got to imagine yourself as a horse that has a carrot on a stick. As much as you're like, I want to eat the carrot, what you want to do is wait as long as possible to eat the carrot. Because after you eat the carrot, there's no carrot. So you might as well enjoy the fact, hey man, one day I'm going to get to eat that carrot. Let's just keep kicking it down the road 10 or 15 minutes. Because at least I got something to look at. 100%. What if I like the stick? For me, the juice is the squeeze, man. Throat bubble, by the way. But no auto-tune this time, unfortunately. Well, I feel comfortable going in order. 1 a.m. is a C tier time. And I'm vice signaling a little bit here. I'm splitting the difference. 1 a.m. would suck for me to be awake at now. Or to wake up in the middle of the night and look at my alarm clock and see that it's 1 a.m., I would be disappointed. But 1 a.m. is, if you're a late person, 1 a.m. might actually be S tier. There's something like 2 is just starting to get too late. But like 11 is like the night has just started. 1 is like, oh, I've still got an hour before I'm going to feel guilty about how long I've stayed awake. 1 is like peak in your room, consuming the kind of media that you want to consume hours. And it has the benefit of you being able to still, I mean, you could fall asleep here and wake up at 8 and be okay. So I think 1 is all right, man. 11 a.m. is tough for me. I'm going to work backwards, okay? I think one of my favorite nighttime hours, and this might throw you for a loop, I really like 9 p.m. Of the evening hours, I think 9 p.m. is my favorite. 8 to 9, there's still some domestic responsibility that I have to handle. Maybe you're doing the dishes or, folding some laundry or something like that. But 9 p.m. is where my body switches from do stuff to get ready for bed. And usually I'm asleep by like 9:35 or something like that, 9:40. So I like a 9 p.m. A 10 p.m., I'm going to move it down a tier. If I'm still doing stuff at 10 p.m., something's gone terribly wrong. This is where things get interesting, though. Because I think there's going to be a lot of this is going to vary based on your lifestyle, especially around the evening hours. This sounds crazy. For some reason, I feel like 11 p.m. is better than 10 p.m. And I have to say, even though the show has rarely been good in my lifespan, I think it's Saturday Night Live. I think this 10 p.m. means absolutely nothing to me. 11 p.m. means one day a week, Saturday Night Live starts. I don't know and also, I don't know, 11's just a nicer number than 10. That's why Spinal Tap did that, as we all know. SNL's on at 8:30 Pacific. I don't like to spoil myself with the live broadcast. I wait for the Pacific feed. Sorry to say. 11 means you still got an hour till bedtime? Yeah, an hour like in reverse. And then midnight, I mean, outside of New Year's Day, I don't really care. Midnight to me, if I was trying to fall asleep and I looked over at the clock and it was 10, I'd be like, okay, this is not great, but it's fine. If I saw it was 11, I'd be like, things are getting pretty bad. If I got to midnight, I would be like, this is fucked up. I got to take like some medication or something to fall asleep. The one exception, I do think on, because midnight, the thing about midnight is that it doesn't know where it is. And if you are out here going, I'm a late night Andy, I love midnight, well, I'm sorry to tell you, this is an early bird's late night hour. My parents, for some reason, were staying up until midnight and then getting up at like 6:45 in the morning to get ready for work. And they, what keeps someone awake until midnight? Now, I'm dating myself a little bit here. They were staying up to watch like Leno or something like that. What are they doing, man? Letterman. This is the way I look at you. If you're like, I'm not like you, I go to bed at midnight. And I'm like, well, you're still a baby too. Well, you're staying awake to see what, Stephen Colbert's saying on the Late Show or something like that? Doesn't make any damn sense to me. So it could be worse. Like it could be 3 a.m., but I feel like this is it's just not an honest hour. If I'm being, perfectly cromulent with you. Now, 8 is innocent, but I will say I think it's a little bit worse than 9. But it's probably, I think it's better than 9 a.m. I think it's better than 11 p.m. and I think it's better than 10 p.m. Absolutely. What time does your daughter go to bed? Literally like 15 minutes after me. Which is, I know, it's insane. But she would be more tired if she spent half the day taking care of a 5-year-old. I think it makes a lot of sense that my 5-year-old goes to sleep after me because she didn't have to take care of herself all day. She didn't have to cook herself dinner. She didn't have to clean up after herself. She didn't have to look at all the things that she's trying to show me, going, look at this, look at this. Plus, she doesn't do 90 minutes on the Peloton. Doctor told me to stop doing that, so I got her on that 30-minute Crush Your Core regimen right now. Anyway, 5 p.m., this is going to vary a lot. I feel like if you commute by car, I give you permission to threaten my life for rating 5 p.m. pretty highly. The way that 5 p.m. works for me personally, is that this is like just after, it's in this liminal space between when we've gotten my daughter home from school and when the evening duties start coming to pass. This is like, it's almost like the 8 p.m. of the late afternoon. At 6, it's time to lock in. What are we doing for dinner? Who's going to make it? When's it going to be ready? What's she going to eat? We got to get this done so that we got time for bath time later, blah, blah, blah. 5 is like, you just chill, let's see what's on. Like it's before the news, and the news is like the start of the evening, even though I don't watch it. If you're on the Pacific time zone, it's like, it's a nice time too, because the hockey games on the East Coast started like an hour earlier than this, so you could catch like the second period when the game's already over, basically. So I like 5. I think 5's pretty good. I think I would place 5 very similar to 8 personally. And yes, I am satisfied that we're getting kind of a normal distribution here, even though there's no, I guess, logical underpinning for why this should have to fit a normal distribution. I mean, a lot of the day could suck ass, and like very little of it could be good, and that could be totally valid for you. But yeah, wow, you're right. Now I got 6 over 5, even though but I don't know. 6. Here's the thing. I did say 6 is worse because you have to start doing some duties. But the thing is, after you do the duties, you get to eat the food you made, and eating food really elevates an hour. So I actually think this makes sense. 6 over 5 makes sense. Although 5 would be 6 on an early dinner day. Like sometimes you end up eating dinner at like 5:45. That might even move 5 in danger of being in the S tier, to be honest. 3 p.m. I'm trying not to let my recent duties affect how I feel about 3 p.m. But 3 p.m., you might think that's awesome for me because I'm not streaming, but it actually sucks for me because I'm not streaming. Because it means that I have to do all the other shit that I have to do that's not streaming. And one thing you need to know about streaming is that the streaming part is the easiest of it by far, because all you're doing is talking shit and playing video games. 3 p.m. my time, I've finished lunch, and I have to start replying to emails and oh, finally clicking on the DocuSign link, but the DocuSign link expired because they sent it a week ago. So I got to email them with like a pleading emoji. Can you please send back the DocuSign link so I can ignore it for another week? And you gotta, hey, do you want to hop on a quick call like that? Like, that's not really in the whole scheme of things. It's not that bad, but it's a lot worse than just like going live and then being like, hey, here I am. I'm playing PUBG. So 3 p.m. Well, let me put it in my life, 3 p.m. is worse than 2. It's really hard to not at least put it in the. I mean, it's better than 1 a.m. though, so I at least put it. If I'm being honest, I probably put it like it's like the median time of the day, I guess. 2 p.m. is peak for me. Not peak as in shit. It might be peak. Stream's over, which is the end of the stream is peak. Like fuck streaming for me, and then by like 8:58 in the morning, I'm like, I love streaming again. So 2 p.m. is like an awesome, it's a release. Oh, I don't have to talk shit anymore. Plus, within like 5 minutes of finishing the stream, I'm eating lunch. So I actually feel like realistically, it would be a little bit like that for me. 2 p.m. might be the best time of day. And then 11 a.m. I got to think about. 11 has a significance for me because that was when we ate lunch in high school. Which makes sense because you would start school at like 8:15 in the morning. How would you feel 4 minutes ago? I mean, you know what? That's a great question. It's not that bad. It's not that good. It's kind of just like it's just a time. 11 a.m. kind of just a time. But 11 a.m. on a weekend is total. I mean, like a lot of the working hours, 11 a.m. takes on a different sheen if you're talking about a Saturday versus like a Tuesday. So Tuesday at 11 a.m. is just another domino in a long line of dominoes. But 11 a.m. on the weekend, when your unemployed friends finally start to wake up, oh, that's that's a good time. You know what? Just for art's sake, I'm going to put it right here. I think that's pretty good, man. I can't be too upset about this, I think. Some of these are a little bit unhinged, I would say. But for me, I think this holds true. If I may adjust one thing, the one thing I would like to adjust, I want to move 1 p.m. is so lunch coded. Nah, I'm going to move 1 p.m. down. I actually feel like 1 p.m., if I'm with all of the structure that I've applied to this so far, 1 p.m. makes a lot more sense right about there. 10 and 4 just have a certain amount of magic to them. 2 is really good for a guy like me. Fuck you. What? Just because I made it look like a middle finger? I think this is real for me, man. There's some things that I think are basically non-negotiable. I'm glad we can mostly agree that 3 and 4 a.m. suck. Like, again, one of my resolutions is to not argue over nothing because I think that my brain doesn't realize that it's meaningless. And people get mad at me for winning because they start resorting to ad hominem attacks. But you're right. You're right when you say that. You're right when you attack me. And you're right that I deserve to be attacked. That being said, when people were like 3 a.m. is S tier, I mean, are we really going to do this? Are we going to do the thing where I go, yeah, if you're unemployed, and then you lie and say you're like a paramedic who's watching the stream in the ambulance right now and saves lives every day? Like, let's not do that, okay? We don't have to go through that. We've already seen the steps laid out in front of us. We've done it many, many times. They're A tier. I mean, if you work third shift or like a shift where you're awake at this time on purpose, this 3 a.m. or 4 a.m., this could be like I don't know, this could be your 6. This could be your 7. If you are up at these hours just kind of through inertia, I think that's a cry for help. Like I don't think that's a good sign if you're like excited to be awake at 3 or 4 in the morning, but like the worst part of it is you only get like a couple hours of sleep before your parents wake up and start clanging around in the kitchen getting ready for work. I got to think about that. What time zone is this for? The good thing is you can just take this and then I'm in GMT -8, I think. I'm in GMT -8, so you can just add or subtract as much as you need to make this time zone list work for you. And then you should print that out and put it on your wall. And these are words to live by. We should, you know what? In 5 years, we should revisit this. Remind me 5 years. Okay.